Welcome to the Hero's Blueprint. Today, I'm joined by the incredible Cedric King, a war hero, double amputee, marathon runner, and a true inspiration. Cedric shares his journey of resilience, facing fear, and turning adversity into triumph, as well as so much more. Get ready for a conversation that will motivate and move you. Let's dive in. On today's episode of the Hero's Blueprint, we have a very, very special guest. Cedric King is a retired U.S. Army Master Sergeant, motivational speaker, endurance athlete, and author of The Making Point. After surviving an IED explosion during his second tour in Afghanistan that left him a W amputee, Cedric redefined what it means to persevere. While recovering, Cedric found the strength and determination to earn his bachelor's degree in business administration and has since become a symbol of resilience and excellence. I would like you guys to just take a second to think about that. In recovery, after a very traumatic time, Cedric decided to go to college and finish getting his degree. I would like everyone to take a second to just think about that. Cedric is also the recipient of some of the military's most prestigious awards, including the Bronze Star, the Purple Heart, and the Legion of Merit. Beyond the battlefield, he's competed in marathons and Ironman triathlons, showing the world what's possible when you combine mindset, action, and purpose. But most importantly, he is a husband and a father and is continuing to redefine what it means to get back up after facing challenge and tribulation. So, Cedric, welcome to the podcast, and thank you for your service. I'm completely honored that you came on the show and are here with me today. I'm excited.
Thanks so much, man. Thanks so much, you guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah, so Cedric, there's a lot there that I said in that intro, but there's a couple of things I want to start at the beginning because as I was really getting to read about you and kind of get to know you and stuff like that, we actually had some commonalities from the beginning. I actually grew up in a single parent, only child household as well, and I know that in itself came with a lot of tribulations and trials. So I'm wondering if you could take us back to your start and kind of where you grew up, how you grew up, and what was life like for you in those early days.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and it's very eye opening to hear that the childhood that I grew up in is more prevalent than I thought. A lot of people come out and say, "Man, well, it's just me and my dad, or it's just me and my mom," and that single parent household. It actually there's a lot of things that I missed out on, but there's also a lot of things that I was given. So with the negative also came a lot of positives. Growing up, you already know, as a single child, you probably get away with a lot more stuff. Look, my mom was going to work and going to school at the same time. Fortunately for me, I had my grandparents right across the street. It really does take a village. It takes a village of people for a child to grow up the way that probably a child intends to be, or parents intend for the child to grow up. But man, my mom, it was just me and her. She was all that I had, and she's right now. We're almost like brother and sister now. We laugh, we call each other, we talk about all stuff. But that's my first. That's my first love. That's my heart right there. I love my mom, and but growing up, not having a dad there, when you grow up in a neighborhood where it's full of kids, not having a dad or older brother, it comes with a lot of stress too, because you're gonna get a lot of attention from older, bigger kids. And if you don't have an older brother or a dad to fight for you, your mom can't be out there slugging it with 18 and 16, 18-year-old kids. It's gotta be you. You're gonna be out there. Sooner or later, a fight's gonna break out, and you gotta put up your dukes. And that's good in some ways, but it's also bad in some ways too. Without having a dad there to show you what masculinity looks like and what it looks like to walk in strength and belief in yourself, sometimes you grow up not having that example. Sometimes you need to see what you can be. But if you can't see what you are going to be, you fall to the wayside. It's a lot of dudes that were like 16, 17 years old, and when you're playing hoops and you call foul, and they say, nah, that wasn't no foul. What you going to do about it? Well, guess what? All right, maybe it wasn't foul. And that started a chain reaction of me capitulating to bigger, stronger, older dudes, to the point where even the dudes that weren't as big as me, I began to kind of be soft about, be more passive aggressive. not standing up for myself. And that continued to happen throughout my life until I came in the military, and the military gives you no error room. You got to actually face up with dudes. You got to actually, look a man in the eye. You got to speak up when things need to be said. You're going to be a leader sooner or later, and sooner or later, you can't be passive. Sooner or later, you're going to have to step up and say, nah, we ain't doing that. Oh, yeah? Well, what you going to do about it? Well, we can handle this like gentlemen, or we can go out into some different stuff. Sooner or later, life puts men in situations where you have to stand up for yourself. And it doesn't matter whether you win the fight or lose the fight. It's incumbent that you step up and you be what you're supposed to be. You can't continue to fail that part of the course of growing up as a man. You're going to have to say, hey, nah, I'm not doing that. Nah, I don't like that. I'm not going to be a part of this. And that's, I think that kind of may not have my dad there as much as I would love to have him there. I missed out on that. And the crazy thing is my dad is more like that than anything. My dad was like that. He was an aggressive, in your face type of guy. And I could have probably learned that lesson on day one had he stuck around or had my parents stay together. But I mean, you know what it is, man. I mean, we grew up a lot alike. You see those lessons, and I missed out on that. But I wish that I could have been more confrontational, more standing up for myself a lot earlier. But I didn't. I had to get that on the back end. In combat, in the Army, playing sports, I had to get that on the back end. And I guess everything worked out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. No, 100%. There's a lot that you said there in a ton that I can absolutely relate to. And one of those things right there about, standing up for yourself and really kind of allowing things maybe to happen then that you probably shouldn't happen. One of the things I realized, it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I realized, because I didn't have my dad in my life either, is I didn't exactly understand what values were. I also didn't understand kind of like what it meant to really have stuff to fight for. Like, I understood what right and wrong was, but for myself, like when I was in an environment to where, like you were saying, whether it be on the court or just like an environment where there was confrontation happening, I didn't have anything that I was standing on. Like, I knew I was supposed to stand up for something, but I didn't understand what the heck I was standing on. And it wasn't until later in life that I realized I was missing out on the whole foundation of my identity. And I didn't realize that until later in life. But there's a lot of people that grow up, in situations like us, and they get in all this trouble, mischief. I know I did for sure. And that's because I didn't understand exactly what I wanted from life, what I was standing on, and I didn't have those boundaries up because I was doing everything. I was doing good stuff, wrong stuff, and it was because I didn't have that framework. And I think that's so important. Was there a period right before you actually got into the military where you were kind of like right about to get into the military, where you were like, did you kind of feel like you had a sense of who you were? Did you feel like you were ready for it, or was there like a sense of doubt or lack?
Man, let me tell you, growing up, like we just talked about, that drifting part where things were just come, go, didn't stand up for anything really. I was letting stuff just slide. But fortunately for me, playing basketball in North Carolina is a big deal. And sports kind of showed me a small glimpse of who I'm supposed to be. Small glimpse of, wow, maybe I'm not like everybody else. Wow, maybe there's something is really special about me. Maybe. And this was the first time, man. I I made the hoops team 11th grade year. 11th grade year, I remember making the hoops team. And in a school where it's only like 200, maybe 300 kids, making the basketball team, it's like 12 people in the whole school that make this basketball team, and I was one of them. And I was so happy because I had just gotten cut from every team I had ever played, I'd ever tried out for. But this one year, 11th grade year, I made the team. And I felt like, wow, it was amazing. It was the first time where I was like, yo, you could be different. You can rewrite your script. Everything else before today is so not who you're supposed to be. This first time in your life where you were selected out of everyone else. It was amazing, man. And tell you the truth, maybe there were times before that where that glimmer of identity happened, but I missed out on it because I was just drifting. But that one time when I made the hoops team, it was like, oh, okay. I'm actually proud of the guy I'm looking at in the mirror. Wow. And I didn't get a lot of playing time at all. It didn't matter at that point because now I had done something that I was proud of for the first time in my life, man. It counted. I was putting on a uniform that represented everybody in this school. Wow. I made the team where some guys that made the team years before me, they didn't make it. And I was like, yo, me. Well, that was the first time. And I believe during those 2 years, junior year and senior year in high school, I just felt like, wow, something is special about me. But I didn't have the grades and I didn't have the desire to go to college. So I knew that with me staying where in North Carolina, where I grew up at, it's a small, poor town. I knew that drugs, you can make money selling drugs. You can make money working at the factory. You can make money doing odd jobs, working in the fields, tobacco. You can make money doing that. But I just said, well, look, you know what? I'm going to go to the military. And at least the military would give me college money to where if I do want to go to college, I can go. I get in the military though. And Joe, it was like, wow, wait a minute. It's difficult, but all I have to do in this place is be on time, have the right attitude, be in the right uniform, and be where I'm supposed to be at. Location, time, attitude, uniform. If I could nail those 4 things every day consistently, I'll be a superstar. That's what the sergeant tells me on day 1. Right time, right place, right uniform, right attitude. Forget the spelling bees, forget the periodic table, forget all of that stuff right there that you had to master in high school. These are the 4 things you got to master. You master these 4 things, you'll be the A student. You'll be the phenom. And I was like, why is that such a big deal? Those are easy things to do. But, as you live longer, you start to see that, yeah, as easy as they are to do, they're also easy not to do, which is why most people fall by the wayside. Most people miss out on it because now it's not how much you can memorize. Now it's not how much you can figure out this math problem. Now it's not about A's and B's and C's. Now it's about straight attitude and being responsible for the things that you've been given, your time, your attitude, your uniform, carry of equipment, all these things. And I was like, man, I could do this. And sooner or later, like great things began to happen and great things begin to continue to happen. I was like, man, I'm the A student. Once again, makes me feel like I'm back on the basketball team. I got selected. I'm starting to get promoted fast. I'm starting to stand out. I'm being selected not out of 300 people, but now I'm being selected out of thousands of people to do great and wonderful things. This is amazing. And that was just like the introduction to the military. The military sent me to Fort Bragg. Right now, it's called Fort Liberty, but Fort Bragg was it and is today the apex of the U.S. military. There's small pockets of elite groups throughout the military, but by and large, Fort Bragg or Fort Liberty, North Carolina, is where you have the highest density of the most tip of the spear people on the planet, military-wise. Like you go there, and there are people that have come through that place that are phenoms to date. Petraeus, Lloyd Austin, you name it. Any great military leader that we've had at some point in time has spent time at that place. And man, every day was like, yo, you got to prove yourself. You in with the best of the best. These dudes are the real deal. You're looking at Green Berets every day, Airborne, Rangers. You're looking at them every day, and they challenge you to be great every morning. Like, every morning, giving 100%. Sooner or later, that becomes a lifestyle, man.
Yeah. There's a lot that you said right there, and one specific thing I'd like to unpack for people that are listening to this right now, because I had a similar situation in terms of when you said you were in high school and the basketball team was one of those moments where it kind of allowed you to see a glimpse of what your potential and possibility of who you can become is. In high school, I was a part of wrestling up until, freshman year, and then I tore my ACL, meniscus in a wrestling match, and sports was kind of over for me for a while, and I lost like a huge part of my identity, and I avoided doing everything I could at school. I graduated at the end of the senior year, bottom 30 of my class, and all these different things. I was not a good student, so when I lost sports, that was that was a real loss for me. But I will say the thing that gave me the glimpse is at the end of the year, in senior year, they were telling me that I was most likely going to have to stay half a semester longer after senior year to make up for the credits because I just did really poorly throughout the year. And I said, look, I can't do that. I said, there's absolutely no way I can do that. I don't want to stay at school any longer. What can I do to do this right now? And they're like, well, what you could do is you could stay after school right now and take these classes online to try making up for some credits. And I had to make up it was like four classes. So it was a lot. And I was like, you know what? Let me just try doing this. And this was at the beginning of senior year that I started doing that. And I actually was able to make up almost a whole year's worth of classes in a month because I just dedicated myself. I was like, there's no way I'm staying longer after high school is supposed to be over. I actually graduated half a semester early then. I completed all my classes. I went from having to stay. But that's one of those moments right there where I did that and I was like, wait a second, I actually see that there's something more inside of me than I ever thought. And for you as a basketball team, but there's somebody listening to this right now that they're not doing sports, they're not doing anything, they feel like they don't fit in anywhere. But I really encourage somebody, especially if you're in high school, get involved into something that you enjoy and just give yourself an opportunity to actually show more than what you think you are capable of. Because like Cedric said, and like I just said, once you see that potential, that light inside of you, you can start to fan that flame and it will continue to grow. And I just really, because man, like that was the biggest thing for me is if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have known even what the heck I was capable of. That cap that I had on me of what I could be and who I could be would have always been on me and never taken off if I didn't put myself in that situation and scenario to where I can do something greater than who I thought I was going to be. But yeah, man, there's a lot that you said, but there's a lot of time going in between when you joined the military and you were around all those Green Berets in that time and to what ended up happening with the IED. And I'm curious, the person that you were leading up until that moment into your second deployment, could you kind of just describe like how you thought of yourself, what your identity was and stuff like that? Because man, there's a lot of people that are listening to this right now. Well, they'll go through something in life that completely knocks them off their horse, and that's the end of it for them in their head. And I'm just curious, like right before that moment, can you just talk about who you were? Because I want to ask you about that after.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, between me arriving at Fort Bragg in 1995 and 2012, when I stepped on the IED, there's 17 years of me really just like getting my tail kicked again at 17 years, man, of me trying out for Ranger School, me getting accepted into the Ranger indoctrination program, me not making it at certain schools or in certain units, me trying to be the best and not measuring up and trying again and doing it again and going to a unit that I really didn't want to be in, and that turning out to being one of the best blessings of my life, and meeting leaders that held me to such a high standard every day. It was 17 years of pounding and pushing and deploying and shooting and getting injured and you name it, man. The 17 years, it was just a straight up gauntlet for years. But looking at it now, those 17 years were some sort of what do you call it? Caterpillar goes into the cocoon. That's exactly what that 17 years was. And looking back on it, I also know now that had it not been for that 17 years of me waking up every day, starting a family, going to work, working out every day, being tired, exhausted, going to deployments, all these things, that was the incubator. That was the cocoon for me getting prepared to face the toughest challenge in my life. You understand? I went to Ranger School 3 times. You're only supposed to go one time and make it. It took me 3 times. This is a school where they starve you. This is a school where you walk several miles in the woods. Walking a mile on a sidewalk and walking a mile in the woods is totally different. If you've ever walked in the woods before, you know this. This is not just walking through the woods, but this is walking through the woods with 100 pounds on your back in your pack. This is also being sleep deprived and child deprived, and food deprived. This is a school where you don't have any rank on your collar. Everybody's the same rank. And now you're being expected to step up and be a leader when you're tired and you're hungry and you're sleepy. Can you still accomplish the mission when you got nothing left in the tank? All of these schools and lessons of me learning how to be a sharper sword this was the exact prerequisite for the IED blast in 2012. Sure enough, in 2012, I go to Afghanistan, and it's a tough day at the office, man. We had been there. I'd been in Afghanistan at that point. This is my 3rd deployment, but on this particular one, I get put in a hornet's nest. It's anybody that's listening to this knows Kandahar back in the early 2010s was a melee. I mean, nothing against Iraq, that's urban warfare, but Afghanistan, it is a ball buster, man. And we were there for, I got deployed from February of 2012 to when I got injured, July of 2012. We were supposed to come back in like August or September, October timeframe. We're going to redeploy. But sure enough, man, this one right here is tough. I lost a lot of buddies over there that summer. And I'm pretty sure your listeners, they probably lost a lot of friends in combat during that 20-year of GWAT. I had a bad day at the office. We were on a foot patrol, and I step on an IED. It takes both my legs off and part of my right hand. I'm a right-handed shooter, so you can kind of see that this is like all of this right here is gone. My trigger finger is there, but I had a bad habit of holding the weapon like kind of by the magazine well. And when I stepped on the IED, it took all of this off. And now, the toughest challenge of my life is I'm living through. You're here, bro. You are here. This is the moment. Lights on, stage 1, camera 1, go. This is what it was right there. Step on the IED, it explodes. I slip into a coma. But I can remember right before I stepped on the IED, man, it was the easiest day ever. It was like, we're going to go and do this little recon. By 10 a.m. max, we'll be done for the whole day. Sure enough, man, sometimes in life, it calls your name, you're up, and you're not expecting it. But that was one of the best blessings of my life, man. One of the greatest blessings in my life was wrapped in the nastiest, ugliest wrapping paper you ever seen. Blood was everywhere. Joe, blood was everywhere, bro. And I'm not sure if you've ever bit your tongue and you taste that metallic taste in your mouth, blood in your mouth. It was like that, but it smelled like that. Instead of it tasting like that, it smelled like that. That metallic blood everywhere, all over the ground, all over my clothes, everything. And now I'm starting to lose consciousness. Anybody that's ever been in a near-death experience, it's almost impossible for you to stay awake the whole time when you're losing that much blood. I can remember getting really sleepy. It was like I had drank like a whole bottle of NyQuil or something like that. And it was like, and I was getting, now I know that I'm losing, I'm going into shock. There's a lot of blood loss. But I didn't know it at the time, but I'm like, starting to get really sleepy, just wanted to take a nap, right? And I had good medics on the ground. I remember they put tourniquets all on my body. I'm starting to lose blood everywhere. Blood's out everywhere. The ground that used to be brown with sand, it's all like pink now. It's crazy. They're giving me sternum rubs. If you take your thumb and you just rub it on your sternum, it's pretty painful. These guys are putting their whole body weight on me and trying to do sternum rubs to keep me awake. And it's like not working. And I can remember getting put in the helicopter and us making it to the nearest field hospital. And that's where I don't remember anything after that. I slipped into a coma. I
Yeah.
wake up 8 days later in Maryland, and that's when the journey really starts, man.
Yeah. That's man, that's a lot. That's incredibly powerful. I mean, that's unimaginable. I literally can't even imagine that. I mean, hearing you talk about it, I'm trying to understand, but I physically, because I didn't experience it, haven't experienced anything like that, I can't. But there is something I can understand right there, which is that you said that that moment is one of the most powerful moments of your life. And if I'm not mistaken, you've also called it before your finest hour. And
It's a blessing.
man, a blessing, and everything you were talking about before that was an incubator and a prerequisite for that moment and to help you with the recovery afterwards. There's a lot of people that are listening to this right now that most likely probably haven't gone through exactly what you've gone through, but they've faced a challenge or something that just knocked them off their horse, or completely, whether it be a near-death experience or whether it be relationship or something that kind of breaks them in a sense, and then they're viewing everything and who they were before as a loss and not as a sense of preparation. And I think that it's really powerful, and I encourage people to sit with that for a second, is that Cedric just said that that moment right there was one of the biggest blessings of his life. And there's a lot of people who hear that and they're like, well, there's no way that this moment in my life is a blessing. But the way that you're looking at it, the way that you look at it is exactly what it's going to be. And you can either look at things as if they're the reason why you can't, or the reason why your life is going to suck the rest of your life, or they can be the reason why getting up and putting in the work and showing yourself who you can be in spite of this, you can use that as that too. So I just highly encourage people to take a second and really understand that. So when you got back and out of the coma, what was kind of your initial thoughts about everything? I'm sure it was just completely disarray, but what was the initial stuff going through your head?
Hey, just like you just said, Joe, just like you said, how you see it is how it will be. How you see is how it will be. If you see it as a blessing, that's the exact way it will be. But I gotta be honest with you. I don't want to make it seem like I thought it was a blessing from day one. No, it's a long time, Joe, where I was like, why me? Why me, man? This ain't fair. This ain't fair. Like, out of all the people, I would have never wanted anyone else to be subject to this punishment and this pain. But why me out of everybody else? I thought that good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. Am I a bad person? What did I do to deserve this? And we start thinking that we are given a punishment when we go through trials and tribulations. That's not it at all. When we're going through tough days, it is merely a chance for you to become better. Now you say, "Oh, Cedric, you're just trying to brainwash me." Joe, you're giving me that BS again. No, it's the truth. If you go to the gym right now and pick up a weight and you push it several times, guess what? Everybody on here knows you're going to get stronger. You're going to get stronger. And the more weight you push, the stronger you get. Well, guess what? Right now, if you're going through a tough day on day one of this year, well, guess what? You're pushing weight. And also, you're getting stronger. And when you get stronger, you become a better you. When your heart gets stronger, guess what? You live a better life. Well, when you are subject to these trials and tribulations, you're getting stronger, but you're also getting better. And when you become better, everything in your life gets better, man. This ain't no BS. This ain't no something I heard before. I live this every day. For me to go out there and do something that is difficult, I always look at it through the lens of I am getting stronger on the tough days. And on the good days, I celebrate with gratitude. Either way, I'm winning. Bad day, I'm getting stronger. Good day, I'm giving praise. I'm thankful. So I live a life that no matter what today is, I win. You could do the same thing. Quit thinking that what you're going through is a punishment, number one. Number two, look at it through the lens of you are getting stronger and better. Number three, look at it through the lens of if I am getting better, then everything around me gets better. I get better friends. I get a better job. I live in a better house. I drive a better car. I get a better future. Ain't nobody taking nothing from you. God is trying to give you something. And you can't be given anything without something being taken. The truth of the matter is, that's a deal. You're getting a deal. You're being given a weight to push in your life so that you can get stronger, so that you can have a better life, so you can have better friends. Ain't nobody trying to take nothing from you, man. Something is trying to be given to you, a better life. Quit looking at it like you did something wrong and now you're being a dog. You being given a hookup. This is the only way you can cut in line. You know, sometimes where you're in line and you're waiting to come up. Well, this is the only way in life that I know that you can cut to the front of the line. Going through tough days. It's gonna make you better. It's gonna make you stronger. Quit thinking that you're being taxed. It's not true.
Yeah.
You got to see it that way, though.
No, man, that's so many. There's so many nuggets and powerful wisdom that you just dropped there. And one thing that you said in there, which I thought is really true, is that you said, "Oh, we're in the brainwashing thing again." There's somebody listening to this that's thinking we're trying to brainwash them. But look, at one thing I always say is that actions always speak louder than words. And if you're watching this, you could see right behind Cedric all these different medals and stuff like that. If you're listening, understand something right here is that Cedric said that it did not take him instantaneously to where he decided to see things as a blessing, but inevitably one day he did choose to see things that way. And now Cedric has raised millions of dollars for people. He runs marathons. He's an inspiration. And in fact, the one of the hardest moments of his life, like from the outside looking in, looks like it catapulted you into a position to where you can showcase exactly what is possible. And this isn't stuff that we're just talking about. This is stuff that actionably living. Cedric is actionably living these things. And if you just choose to see, what is some things that you've gone through, how can you turn this into the biggest blessing in your life, and what doors did this thing open up to? Because a lot of the times I like to look at challenges and tribulations as an opportunity to become a trampoline. It helps you to jump higher. It helps you to go further. It helps you to get higher and reach more people. So think about that. Sit with that for anyone listening now that's thinking we're trying to brainwash. Your actions are always going to speak louder than words. So you can't just listen to this and just think things are going to change in your life. You have to make a decision and take action to really change things.
Absolutely. Hey, when I was telling you that, I was thinking that, like, good things are supposed to happen to good people and bad things are supposed to happen to bad people. I now see that the truth is not, good and bad people and good and bad circumstances. It's bad things usually happen to the best people. I don't know if you can go to anybody that is living a higher life than the average, person, where they did not incur supernatural tough times, like homelessness, like death of their family members at the worst time, having people's sight lost, legs lost, loved ones lost, jobs lost. I mean, the toughest circumstances actually happen to the best people. And it is not just by circumstance or happenstance, it's by design. The very best people are given the toughest challenges as almost like a curriculum. It takes them from high school level to graduate level. It takes them from good people to great people. If you're in a situation right now and you know that you're living the very best you can live, and now all of a sudden the bottom falls out. I'm telling you, I'm giving you a secret. Hey, it's because you were meant to be great. It's because you were supposed to be great all along. And this is your graduate level test. The beauty of it is you're going to continue to have recertifications. You're going to have to recertify to be great. It's not like the bottom just falls out one time. It's a succession of the bottom falling out to keep you better, to keep you great.
Yeah.
Magic Johnson was diagnosed with HIV 30-something years ago. Today, we see the glory of that incredibly tough moment. Some of the biggest, greatest business leaders, some of the best people you've ever heard of in life have went through traumatic things.
Yeah.
And it made them who we remember them to be.
Man, that's a mic drop moment right there, Cedric, because what you just said, have the blessing of being around some of the most successful people for the past 2 years and meet some incredible people. And literally the whole reason I created this show is because almost every one of those people I talked to, they went through something that almost destroyed them, or some terrible thing that, although the outside public and most people don't see, they see their wins, they see their successes, they see all these things. They don't see that. You literally just dropped a secret right there. Is that every successful person and every good person that you know that you're like, oh my God, they have the life and they just are blessed.
Yeah.
Man, they went through something that they used to get them there. And I always say, you're most qualified to serve the person you once were. And God wouldn't let you go through something horrible and traumatic if you weren't meant to do something with that in the future. You're now qualified to help those people going through exactly what you went through. So, don't look at it as a reason why you can't get up and stay down. Look at it as a reason why, okay, now I can stand up, turn around, and help all these people going through it, get through it. And we could all go together and get further. Cedric, you started running and you got your bachelor's degree and you got all these different things. And I'm just really curious, what came first and what was the inspiration and motivation to really get back up and start to kind of chase after things, whether it be the degree or getting back into running? Because I know you started running not too long after your recovery, which is unbelievable.
Yeah. Let me tell you, man, you can't be at Fort Bragg, North Carolina and not run all the time. They are really, really, the Army, at least at that place in the Army, man, you can't you can't sit on the fence. And you're going to have to stay in shape. There's certain pockets of the military where you're going to have to stay in shape to stay in the Army. That's just what it is. No nonsense. So I'd always been in shape. And being in shape in the military is one of the things where you can carve out your niche. It's not just lifting weights and being strong or being able to shoot or march or, no, you got to be in shape. So that was one thing that was always a staple in my life. Now, number two, getting knocked down and having these legs severed, you get put into a place where you actually do yourself a favor before the bottom falls out. All right. And what do I mean by that? The life that you live right now is indicative of the level that you will be at or you will strive to get back to when things knock you down. For me, once I got knocked down, the bar was so high. The bar was so high for me being in shape or for me having an active lifestyle. When the legs got blown off, well, guess what? I'm trying to get back to that place again.
So you do yourself a favor anytime you're in a situation where you're being knocked down. The greatest thing you could have done for yourself is make sure that you live a life where the bar is high. Because we know that there are highs and lows in life. So when you get knocked down, you will already have a place to get back to. If that place is high enough and is active enough, is positive enough, then now you're only trying to get back to an elite level. I say only, but you're trying to get back to an elite level where most people around you are just trying to get by. You've set the bar so high so that when you do get knocked down, that's your your point. That's your point of recovery. That's your point of trying to get back to. And for me, that's what it was. I'd always been an endurance kind of guy. So for me, it was just, okay, how can I get back to that? The best part about it is now I'm trying to get back to an elite level, but I'm doing it with no legs. To me, it's not a big deal. I'm just trying to get back to where I was. But to everybody else, it was like, yo, how is he doing this? Like, what do you mean you're gonna run a 5K? You've only been you got injured a few months ago. What are you talking about running a 5K on amputated limbs? Yes, because for me, it's not me doing something magnificent. It's just me trying to get back to where I was. And not taking no for an answer. The best thing you could do for yourself is to ensure that you're living the highest, best possible expression of who you are. And you do that as an insurance. It's almost like you're paying insurance so that you can always maintain what you had. In spite of the knockdown, when you get back up, it's going to be something that everybody is going to be like, yo, she said she was going to get back. She said she was going to get a degree. He said he was going to write the book. He said he was going to start the podcast. Even though he got knocked down, even though she had the divorce, even though they had the death in the family, even though they lost the job, they're getting back to it. For you, it's not really a big deal. Everyone else, it will serve as a source of inspiration. And now your legacy is not just about you anymore. It's about showing the world what they can do. It never was about you. It was about you being an example so that everybody else can live their highest life, their highest expression. It ain't about you. The knockdown is almost for everyone else to actually get back up. And that's exactly what it was. It was like, yo, I'm just let me get back to running again. I'm going to get back to running a 5K. And started with a 5K, but now I do ultra marathons. I got a 100-miler coming up this year. And like, I don't know anybody who's doing 100-milers. 100-mile run, 48 hours to do it. Hopefully I get a chance to do it in May. Or April or May. But that's the plan. And I'm not doing this because I'm some sort of pain freak. I'm doing it so that I can become a better, newer creature. I'm doing it to become a better me. I have to do something physically daunting, mentally daunting. You actually have to become a new you. A new you. You say, oh, I'm going back to get my PhD. Okay, to do that, you have to become a new you, a better you. And when you become better, I said it earlier before, I'll say it again. When you become better, everything in your life becomes better. So now it's not an issue of me going out and buying a new house or me putting in an application for a better job. No, you're becoming a better you. So now you're not chasing those things. Those things are chasing you. For me to run a 100-miler, it's not me going after just 100 miles. It's me becoming a better me. And when I become better, everything that I desire, everything that I'm aspiring to be, it's now looking for me and not the other way around. This is how you attract greatness into your life.
Yeah.
Joe is sitting here giving you the clues. You just got to become a better you. Do something that you're afraid to do. Tackle a job. Put the application in, man. Who cares if you get it or not? Maybe it's not just about you getting it. It's about you actually stepping up to the plate, man. Try out for the team. So what? Try out again. Become a better you by stepping into a ring where you're forced to grow bigger. Put yourself in a class where you're forced to be smarter, where timelines are tighter. You become better and you attract better.
Yeah. There's a lot of powerful stuff that you said right there, but one thing I really took from it is no matter what is happening around you, no matter what is happening to you, is that at the end of the day, those things can either determine what you do, or you can say, in spite of what situation I'm in or what's going on, I can choose to do something more. And that choice right there, a lot of people use the reasons why the situation they're in life or the things that are happening to them as the reason why they can't. And they let everything else external make the decision for them. But you make the decision, and you continuously make the decision that no matter what is happening around you, you're going to continuously keep pushing for something higher. And like you said, what that does is everything in your life starts to get better, because no longer are you allowing everything external to determine who you are. You're determining what everything is external of you is going to be, because it's got to be. Everything has got to get better if you're getting better.
Right.
Cedric, I'm really curious, as we're kind of wrapping up here, there's a couple things I want to touch on. There's people right here that are, I've gone through it. I know, I mean, you definitely have gone through it numerous times, but when you're in a rut, what exactly are the things that kind of you do or steps you take to kind of get yourself out of that? Because, man, ruts can be destroyers, and people can live in those ruts for the rest of their life. I mean, I lived in a rut I didn't even realize years I was in a rut, and I was like, it took me such a long time to recognize I was in a rut, but I was like, man, I was living horribly in a terrible quality of life, and I had to do a lot of things to get me out of that. But what are some things that you do when you're in a rut, even today, to get out of that?
Boy, bro, you must got cameras around my house, boy. I tell you right now, Jay, you hit the nail right on the head. This is something that I was going through just this week, and I'm talking about from December to January, this week, this calendar week. Bro.
Same.
December the 10th, I had a surgery, which is why it looks like my face is a little flush right now. I actually had a surgery where I had to put anchors were put into my jaw. After you go to Afghanistan and you have all these surgeries, everything needs to get worked on. It seems like, every now and again. And I had anchors put in my jaw. And the doc's like, hey, look, I don't want you to do anything. Do not do anything for the next 2 weeks. Look, couch, nothing strenuous. Well, bro, you know me, man. Like, I'm preparing to do ultra marathon, so like that's part of the deal. I gotta train. So sure enough, 2 weeks goes by. Doc is like, all right, you can start running again, but you gotta start small. Now, keep in mind, for me, I'm like, all right, I've been off 2 weeks. I can't wait to get back. But start small. What do you mean start small? And sure enough, this is the tactic. This is how you get yourself out of a rut. Start small. Yeah, but Cedric, I can actually do 4 weeks in a row. Cedric, I can actually lift thousands of pounds of weight. Cedric, I can actually, get out of it. No, it's not about you doing what you used to do. Getting out of a rut is just a matter of starting a habit. Anybody who's ever been hooked on anything from cigarettes to Oreos, it did not start huge. You didn't start smoking 10 packs of cigarettes a day. You started smoking cigarettes because somebody offered you one. And you came back tomorrow, you did it again. It may have taken you a whole month to smoke a whole cigarette in one session. Sure enough, anybody who's ever been hooked to cigarettes, you already know it's addicting after a while. It starts with a habit. Oreos. You can't start eating 15 Oreos in a row. You start by one. One Oreo is how it starts. One potato chip. Look, where's it at? I got a whole can of Pringles right here. It doesn't start with a whole can of Pringles. It starts with just one. You're like, oh, that's pretty good, man. Another one of those. And before you know it, you're in the grocery store buying 3 or 4 cans of Pringles. And you have to outsmart your rut the same way, baby. Start with just a small thing, just to get you off the couch. Hey, look, I'm gonna walk about 20,000 steps a day. Okay, cool. Don't start with 20,000. Start with something that you know you can beat. Start with 5 minutes. I don't care how many steps you get in 5 minutes. I don't care if you get 100 steps in 5 minutes. Don't matter. Start with 5 minutes. And here's the magic. Come back tomorrow. Do only 5 minutes. Not 5 minutes, 1 second. Not 5 minutes, 1 second and 1 millisecond. No, 5 minutes. Don't do more. It's not about the time right now. It's about the habit. It's about the habit. Get out of the rut. Whatever you are trying to get to, start small. Do it for a week the same way. The great thing about doing it for 5 minutes is it's something that you can do. The great thing about not doing 6 minutes the next day is because it's not a habit yet. You're being tricked into thinking it's got to be 6 minutes. It's got to be 7 minutes. It's got to be 10 minutes. No, it doesn't. It has to be 5 minutes. The 5 minutes is something that you know you're bigger than. You're stronger than 5 minutes. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. You're stronger than 5 minutes. You can do way more than 5 minutes, but that's the whole point. Yeah. Come back tomorrow and do 5 and 5 and 5 until it becomes a habit. Until the point where you're like, man, I can't wait to do my 5 minutes. At that point, increase. Don't do 20. Do maybe 7 minutes, 8 minutes. You say, well, I'm not getting in shape. It's not about you getting in shape right now. It's about you creating a habit that you can't break. And once the habit is created, then you add volume. This is how you get yourself out of a rut. The same way that you get in a rut. It's the same way you get out of a rut. You don't get in a rut by just laying on the couch one day. No, you start laying on the couch every day. Mm-hmm. And to get off the couch, you have to do the same thing. Start small. Create a habit.
Absolute gold right there.
That's how I got. As soon as we get off of here, that's exactly how I'm going to go. Right now, I'm today, honestly, I'm probably going to just do 30 minutes. But I know that 30 minutes, I know I can do more than 30 minutes on the treadmill. I know I can do 30 minutes of running hills. I know I can. But it's not about me doing just the 30 minutes. It's not me doing an hour. It's about me starting to have it again.
Mm-hmm. That's absolute gold that you just said right there. I mean, like when I get in a rut and, I start, whether it be missing gym sessions, the first thing I always do is, in fact, I actually bought a treadmill for my house to make it easy. And this is one thing, too, that I found for myself. Make it easy to get back on track and to start those good habits. So all I got to do is walk 20 steps in my front room, turn the treadmill on, and just start walking. And simply by me, if I'm in bed and I'm thinking about doing 10 minutes on the treadmill, I'm thinking, oh, that's nothing. That's not going to get me anywhere. That doesn't accomplish anything. But like what you're saying, it's the act of starting something is going to allow you to continue. If you don't start, you can't build on that. So me going 10 minutes on the treadmill enables my mind to think, okay, you know what? Actually, I feel better now. Maybe I can go to the gym. And that's exactly, it's just starting the butterfly effect. But the same thing, like you were saying, is that I can make the decision to just sit in bed for 10 minutes. That turns to 20, 30, and then that continues. So it's like, I always think of this, and one thing I found from talking to people like you and other successful people is we're like sharks. Like sharks literally need to keep moving. Otherwise, if they stand still, then they just die. If you think of yourself as like a shark, are you kind of in motion or are you stationary? Because if you're sitting in bed, if you're allowing all these reasons to tell you why you can't do things to move, like a shark, you're going to die. But a shark doesn't need to go fast. It just needs to go a little bit forward every single day, and that's all it needs to do. They sleep going forward. They sleep moving. Think about that. And because that saves me so much. I'm sitting in bed, and, I just got over a stomach bug. So I was in bed for 2 days, and that knocked me off my butt. And I was like, I do not want to do anything. But I was like, I'm not in motion right now. And if I'm not in motion, that means every other aspect of my life is going to be falling behind. My relationships are going to suffer. Everything's going to suffer. And a lot of gold that you dropped right there. I want to shift gears for a second, real quick as we're wrapping up, and talk about relationships because, how you grew up and now you have a family and stuff like that. I'm curious. There's a lot of, like, for me, when I think about relationships, and one thing I recognize is I didn't understand relationships in the sense of anything. I didn't understand how to be a good friend. I didn't understand how to, I don't have any kids yet. I didn't understand how to be a good partner. I didn't understand a lot of these things. What are some things now that as you've become a father and a husband that you have, built for yourself, whether it be values or just systems or ways that you are kind of the person you are today and for your family, especially for
Yeah.
those that didn't grow up like with a family.
No, 100%, man. I in the beginning, I thought that I was choosing a partner, right? I think I was choosing the partner. I go out and find the prettiest girl I could find, and now I know that you get the partner that you deserve, not sometimes the partner that you want. You think you're getting the partner you want, but in actuality, you're getting a partner that you deserve, or if you're lucky and blessed, you're getting a partner that you really don't deserve because you are the one that needs to come up. God will put you with a person in your life that is not necessarily the one that you think, I thought marriage is going to be like this. No, I got the partner that was going to bring the best out of me. When I get lazy or when I do things that I know that I'm better than this, or I know I have more character than this person holds me accountable. And sometimes when somebody holds you accountable, you might not like it, but the truth of the matter is, that's what you need. When I lost these legs, I had a person in my life, my wife, man, way better to me than I was to myself. I fell in love with a woman I raised kids with, been married years with, and sure enough, bro, this woman loves me in spite of who I really am, what I look like. She loves me in spite of the fact that I've lost legs. She loves me in spite of the fact that I'm in a wheelchair right now and I'm pushing around the house in a wheelchair. She loves me in spite of these things, and that's something that you can't pay money for. If you had a lot of money, maybe that person be there for the wrong reason. Who knows? But I fell in love with a woman who loved me before all of this. Very lucky, very blessed to have a woman that's going to make sure that she's not embarrassed by what I look like or how I walk. These kids, they don't love me because of, like I'm big and tall and strong. I'm missing a pair of legs. But they love me for the part of me that you can't see. You gotta make sure that the people that are in your life, they're gonna challenge you to be a better you. They're not gonna sit by and let you drift. No, they're gonna see you and they're gonna love you enough to say, "No, you better than this. Did you make the phone call? Did you check up on such and such?" That's not nagging, or maybe sometimes it is, but that is essentially somebody holding you accountable to be a better version of who you are. And number two, you got people in your life. Make sure you have people in your life that love you in spite of what you look like or what you are, what you aren't. People that are going to love the part of you that cannot be seen by the naked eye. I love the part of you that I can't see. The thing that makes you, Joe. The thing that makes you, you. Somebody fall in love with that, you're truly blessed. Because now, when certain things change, the job may change, the house may change, the location may change, the amount of money may fluctuate. But as long as they are falling in love with the part of you that cannot be seen, you're a blessed individual. Because now that person will continue to get better. And your relationships, like you said in the beginning, your relationships will grow better because you have become better. You're giving a better you to this person. And in return, that person hopefully will be giving you the best part of them. You have to, I think you also have to give it to God. You have to say, Lord, you know exactly who I am and what I need to be, exactly what you call me to be. Can you bring someone into my life that is going to honor you with our relationship? That's going to bring glory to you by our being together. And now, it's not on you anymore. I mean, like, you have a son, you wouldn't allow your son to get hitched with some, person that's not going to be good for them, or your daughter to fall in love with somebody that's not going to be good for her. You're going to select somebody that is going to be good for them now and 50 years from now. That's the blessing. Selecting somebody that is going to be good for you now as well as in the future. And only God can do that, man. Only God can do that. You have to ask, though. You have to ask intentionally. You have to do this intentionally, with intention.
Yeah. You said some profound stuff right there, and I'm just gonna spitball some stuff that came up in my head because I know it's gonna help someone else. Is I asked a question right there because you mentioned showing other people and letting other people love that part of you that can't be seen from the visible eye. I asked myself as soon as you said that, well, how can I show the world that part of me that isn't seen by everyone else? And I really encourage everyone listening to ask that because as people, a lot of times we focus on making ourselves look as good as possible externally, our looks, what we do, our job, all these different things. But we forget that the actions and how we treat people are really going to show people who we are.
Right.
So are you more focused on putting a mask on and portraying yourself a certain way to the world? Or are you allowing yourself to really show up authentic to yourself? Because like Cedric just said, if you're not, how the heck are you going to attract the person that you need, not just the people that you want, if they're not even able to see who you really are? So that's something that I took away from that I'm going to start applying in my life. But I know just for a listener perspective, somebody out there is also in the same boat as me.
You're 100%, bro. You hit it right on the head. If you focus on being the best you can be at this particular time, the right person will find you. It's not about you going swiping left and swiping right. It's about you becoming the very best you can be as long as you can be. Now, the people that are supposed to be in your life will be attracted. It's not you going out to get them. It's about them once again being attracted to you. And how do you do that? You being the best you. They'll find you. If you go out and you're the best wrestling recruit ever, guess what? The best colleges are going to find you. Not because you're looking for them, they're looking for you. It's like that in life. If you are being the best you won't have to go out and put in applications. People will come looking for you. It ain't just anybody. The best will come looking for you. Look at it that way. Look at it that way. It's almost like a recruit. Recruit is drafted. They don't have to look around for people. They got people looking for them. You the same way.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Somebody just sighed with relief right there because they've been so focused on trying to find the right person or stuff like that. But like you just said, just focus on becoming the best you and let those people come. Take that pressure off your shoulders. You got to love yourself more than you want to be loved by others. First, you have to love yourself first. You know. Cedric, to wrap this up, I want to ask you a question that is really I ask myself almost every single day, and it always brings out some positive stuff. If this was your last day on Earth and you wanted to leave behind 3 lessons for your family and for future generations, grandchildren, stuff like that, for moments when they're going through struggle or trials, what would they be and why?
Number one, put God first in your life. Put God first. And what does that mean? In everything that you do, give God the first right of refusal. The tire goes flat. Lord, can you help me in this moment? I got 3 different women that want to be my wife, and which one should I go? Ask God. Put God first. And everything you do, put God first. Now, if you're not putting God first right now, that may be a process. But start by trying to start your day with God in prayer. Hear what He says by getting in His Bible, in His Word. These are this one step right there is going to totally transform your life to being a life of purpose and a journey that glorifies Him, but also you will love. You will love. Number two, do the things that intimidate you. Go after things and opportunities that intimidate you. It forces you to be better. Doesn't matter if you succeed on the first, second, third, 15th, 100th time. Try to go after the things that you fear. I wish in the military I would have done that sooner. Go after the things that you fear. Man, that it puts you in a small company of people. And really, when you do the thing that you fear, whether you do it and graduate or accomplish it the first time, or you do it the 100th time, you're still putting yourself in that small group of people where the best of the best are. And last but not least, I would say make sure you're living a life where you're giving. You're giving to others. The only thing that's going to remain after you're gone is what you did for other people, not what you did for yourself. What did you give? Did you give the pair of headphones that you wanted? Did you give those headphones to somebody else? Even though that's the ones you wanted, give something to somebody else. Live a life of giving. Live to give. And not irresponsibly giving, but intentional. Like giving of your time. Something that's so much more valuable than what's in your pocket. Give, and it will be given unto you. If you are able to give the very best of you, especially when it's not convenient, the best will be given to you when it's super needed. I'm telling you this because there are times where we are tempted to hoard everything. Give for a rainy day. No. You have to give. You have to give. And the more you give, you will look around and you will start to see that, man, I thought that I needed all the things that I'm holding on to. The truth of the matter is, if I gave them away, what I really, really desire will be given to me. Live to give. Live to give. Ensure that you're putting God first. Putting God first. Ensure that you are the best you could be. Continue to do these things. And I'm telling you, it will work out for you. Do the things you fear. Do the things you fear. Put God first. And give. If you do those three things, if anybody would ever watch this 50, 100 years from now, I would hope that my grandson and my granddaughter, my great-grandkids, I hope they would see this, and these three lessons will still be apropos in their generation, in their lives, in their lifetime. Hope everybody else on the line hears this too. You do those three things, I guarantee you, 2025 will look way different than any other year you've ever had. You say, well, Cedric, I'm doing that already. Continue to do it. Continue to do it. Make it a lifestyle until you forget that you're doing it.
Yeah. Man, Cedric, thank you so much for your time and for giving your time not only to me but to the audience and the listeners. I know for sure there's at least one person who listened to this whose life is going to change and transform into a different direction, and mission accomplished for me right there, because that's the most important thing for me. How can my listeners and me best support you? How can we give back to you for you giving so much today to us?
Well, it's good that you asked that, Joe. I am this year going to start a podcast, and this is how you can give back to me. I need you to help me start my own podcast. Now, I have some camera equipment right here. It's not a super great microphone. It's not a super great camera, but I would love to this year do at least one episode a month. I would love to do this one episode a month, and I need your help. I need your help because I don't know how to release this stuff. So it's probably way easier than I think it is. So I would like you to send me some times and dates to where you can hook your boy up and you can be my first guest.
Man, I am so beyond honored for that, Cedric. Seriously, thank you. And absolutely, we'll text and we'll exchange information after this to make sure 1,000,000% I will help you. And
Thank you.
everybody, I will make sure that when the episode comes out and for your show, that everyone that's listening here today will listen to it and support. And man, I thank you so much, Cedric. Appreciate
Thank you,
man.
my brother. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for your time today and for coming on here. And again, thank you for your service and for absolutely everything, Cedric. It's been a pleasure.
Always, my friend. Always.